Okay.
tomorrow early morning. Then I should go there with him, but my health situation is not good, so I decided to remain in my house alone.
Okay. Well, so it'll save you the trip, I guess, on the bright
It's a
side.
long trip, long driving. It takes over 10 hours, 12 or 13 hours to reach his
Wow,
hometown. So
that is
I need,
a long.
I should be very healthy.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
I don't have
And
any confidence about my health now.
okay. Yeah. Well, hopefully it gets better. Hopefully staying home helps. Uh, but yeah, Nacho, welcome to class as well. Nacho, how's it going?
Hello, Joshua. It's going well, very well, because
Okay.
today is Friday afternoon.
Yeah.
Couldn't be better.
Cool. I'm glad that you're doing well. Um, and so, Nacho, what did you do today?
Today I've been working until now, and now I'm taking a class, and then I go out for a weekend. But now I'm going to
Okay.
stay in the city this weekend. But the weather is good. This is a sunny day after dozens of days raining, so it's very well.
Okay. We might say dozens of days of rain, uh, or weeks of rain, but we need the
Weeks,
preposition of.
uh,
Yeah, weeks
weeks
of
of rain,
rain.
yeah. Weeks
Yeah.
of rain, yeah. Uh-huh.
So one quick thing, guys, my browser is frozen. I know I can hear you guys, and you can probably hear me. I do have to close the browser and then open it again so that it doesn't, freeze up on me again. So give me a second. I'll be right back in class. And
And
welcome to
now
class.
I can see you. Now I can see you now.
Okay. And so, yeah, guys, welcome back. Um, and Julieta, how's it going?
Hi. Yes, everything is going well. Thank you.
Nice. Good to hear. And Julieta, are you sick?
No.
Okay. Um, so what'd you do today?
Mm. Today I went to my father's office and then I had lunch.
Okay.
Now,
Make sure you put the possessive S on my father's office.
my father's office. Yes.
Yeah. Okay. And how's your father's office? How is work?
Yes, it was interesting today.
Okay.
We had to think about resolve a quarrel between brothers.
Oh man, that's difficult. Um,
Yes,
we use the gerund. Think about resolving
resolving.
a quarrel. Um, all right. And Duong, what about you? What was your day like today?
Oh, actually, we just finished our TED holidays some day before, so I come back to the Hanoi to prepare for my work. Yeah, yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Nice. Um, really good. And maybe we have Nacho. What are you gonna do tomorrow?
Tomorrow, tomorrow I'm going to take to my son to his weekly match that he plays in a he plays in a football team,
Hmm.
and tomorrow morning he has a match. Yeah, in the afternoon, maybe we are going out to have some drinks or some beers with friends.
Okay. Nice. That's great. That'll be pretty good. And so we've got a what if article. It's not quite ready, but we can read it online. So I think that's what we'll do. And so we'll do the pronunciation and things like that just in the chat box. Um, so keep an eye on the group chat, and then we'll get this class on the website. So it's a new one. Um, and so can you guys see that pretty well?
Yes.
Yes,
Okay,
we
let's
can.
see if I can expand it a little bit. Okay, and let's start with Heidi. Can you read the question?
Yoda, how much force power can Yoda output?
Yeah, good.
Ryan Finney. I don't know.
Nice, that sounded good. How much force can Yoda output? Maybe just output. Really emphasize the out. Just be aware of that. And Juliet, what do you think? How much force do you think Yoda can output?
That's a good question.
Okay.
I remember Luke was able uh, to float a big boulder, so perhaps 1,000 kilos.
Okay, 1,000 kilos. Okay, good. Um, and Amp, welcome to class. Amp, how's it going? Amp, are you there? Okay, maybe it'll take a second. So just a quick question. Does everybody know who Yoda is? Does everybody know?
Definitely
Yes,
In the
everybody.
yeah.
Star Wars.
In the show.
Good, yeah. Okay, so in Star Wars. Nacho, you know too, right?
Yeah, he
Yoda,
is master.
Star Wars. Yeah.
Okay, nice. Okay, good. And I guess maybe Duong, do you agree with Julieta? Maybe like 1,000 kilos of force. Do you think it's more force that Yoda can output? What do you think?
I think more than 1 billion. I don't know.
Okay, so that's quite a lot. 1 billion,
Yeah.
so more than a billion. Um,
Yeah.
all right, interesting. And let's go and read this first part. Um, and let's start with, again, Amp, are you there?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, there you go. How's it going?
I don't know. It's still loading the Verbling application.
Okay. Can you see the page?
Yes.
Okay.
Now, yes.
Can you? Yeah, perfect. Can you read these first two paragraphs?
Okay. I'm going to, of course, ignore the prequels. There's a great SMBC comic exploring the geopolitical consequences of having Superman turn a crank to provide an unlimited source of energy. We could imagine Yoda using the Force to run a similar generator.
And can you read that last part?
Okay. But how much power could he really supply?
Good. You did a really nice job with all your pronunciation. The only small thing I saw was prequels. Prequels.
Prequels.
Yeah.
Okay.
Prequels. Um, and what's he mean there? Does anybody know? I'm going to, of course, uh, ignore the prequels. What's a prequel?
I don't know.
Does anybody know?
Something that happened before something else in a story.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Something that happened maybe even before the main story would be a prequel. So, good. If we've got that happening, yeah, so I'm going to ignore the prequels. What are the prequels of Star Wars? What are the prequels? Okay, so they're the movies that were made more recently, the movies that came before. So they were about Anakin and how Anakin became Darth Vader. Does that make sense?
Hmm?
More recent movies. Case. Okay. And yeah, what's he mean by this? Why is this kind of funny? Does anybody have any ideas? Okay. So generally, I guess the prequels for people who like Star Wars were considered worse, and that's it. Um, so yeah, it's turning a crank to supply power. Let's have Nacho. Can you read this next part?
Okay. Yoda's greatest display of raw power in the original trilogy came when he lifted Luke's X-Wing from the swamp. As far as physically moving objects around goes, this was easily the biggest expenditure of energy through the Force we saw from anyone in the trilogy.
Yeah. Um, that was good. Lifted was one thing. So lifted. Nacho,
Yes?
can you repeat lifted?
Lifted. Lifted.
Huh? And then, as far as physically moving or objects around goes, this was easily the biggest expenditure of energy through the Force we saw from anyone in the trilogy. Can you repeat that one? That's a tricky sentence.
As far as physically moving objects around goes, this was easily the biggest expenditure of energy through the Force we saw from anyone in the trilogy.
Good. Nice job. Really good emphasis of anyone in the trilogy. That sounded great. Nice job, Nacho. Uh, and does everybody remember this scene? Does everybody remember the scene?
Yes,
I
but
have
I
never
don't
seen.
know what is a swamp.
Um, what's a swamp? Does anybody know?
A swamp is a
Very wet.
place with a lot of water.
Yes,
Uh-huh.
like a bog.
Like a bog. Yeah, bog is a little bit more, yeah, bog's a little bit different, but yeah. So this is when he's lifting the X-Wing out of the bog. Good. And really, Amp. Okay, so this will be a little bit tricky for you. Do you know what happens in the story, Amp?
No idea.
Okay. Heidi, can you explain briefly what Star Wars is about?
Pardon?
Can you explain to Amp what Star Wars is about and who Yoda is?
Maybe Amp knows about that.
She doesn't. She's never seen the movie. She doesn't know exactly what it's
Nobody
about.
knows about that.
I don't know.
Everybody knows
I
about
don't
that.
like fiction movies, this kind of movies, so I've never seen one of
Then
them.
if you talk about that, she is not interested in that.
Okay, but just to kind of explain what we're reading about, can you explain who Yoda is? So who's Yoda?
Yoda is
Yeah.
a kind of teacher of the martial art, but he's not humankind. Maybe
Uh-huh.
some creature in some space. And then his figure is much different from humankind. He can speak the same language well. He's like not animal. Very short, small, and his age is over 1,000 years, I guess. And Luke is the main character. He is a son of king, maybe. A king has twins, and he is one of the twins. And another one of twins is a daughter. She is a rider in a star, another space. She is now governing that place.
Mhm. Nice. That was a pretty good summation of some of the characters. But good. So yeah, Yoda and the Force is kind of like a sort of magical power in the movie AMP, if that makes sense. So we're talking about how much Force power can Yoda output. So he's kind of got this magic, and we're trying to convert it to like electric energy. Um, nice job, Heidi. Good explanation. Julieta, can you read the next part?
The energy it takes to lift an object to height h is equal to the object's mass times the force of gravity. The object's mass times the force of gravity times the height it's lifted. The X-wing scene let us use this to put a lower limit on Yoda's peak power output.
Nice. Good job. Really good correction of times. So your pronunciation here, so like the object's mass times the force of gravity times the height it's lifted. You did a great job there. The only thing was height. Can you repeat height?
Height.
Nice. Okay. Can you explain what you just said? What did you just say here, Julieta?
So Yoda was able to lift the X-wing from the swamp, and the energy he could have used is about the mass of the object multiplied the force of gravity multiplies the h of
Height.
height of the height of the X-wing.
The height that it's lifted from the ground.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, good. Okay. And yeah, this will give us some sort of lower limit on the power that he can output. Yeah. Nice job. Good explanation. Duong, can you read this next part?
Okay, first we need to know how heavy the ship was. The X-wing's mass has never been canonically established, but its length has 12.5 meters. An F-22 is 19 meters long and weight 20, 29,000 1,700 kilograms, so scaling down from this gives an estimate for the X-wing of about 12,000 lbs, 5 metric tons.
Okay, good. LBS? Does anybody know what LBS stands for?
Pounds.
Yeah, pounds. Can you repeat 12,000 pounds, Duong?
Okay, 12,000 pounds.
Nice. Good job with estimate. 19,700 kilograms.
19,700 kilograms.
19,700.
Okay, 19,700 kilograms.
Yeah. Maybe just kilograms.
Kilograms.
Kilograms. Good.
Yeah.
And length. Length.
Length.
And then canonically.
Canonically.
Nice. Perfect. Really nice job. That was good. A lot of hard words here. And so this is kind of like a just a diagram of what he did. I don't think we need to really go over that. And so Let's have Amp. Can you read the next part?
I was skipped. I didn't
Oh,
know.
sorry, Heidi.
I'm crying.
Sorry. I don't know how that happened. Can you read this next part, Heidi?
Even last class, I was skipped many times.
Um, I don't know. I generally go in order, just straight left to
No,
right.
skipped twice.
Super sorry. I don't know what happened. Like truly.
You should check at the video later.
Okay. Yeah, definitely. Can you read this next part?
No, I can't read it now. I'm crying. I'm very sad.
Okay. I'm really sorry. I don't know. Oh, okay. Amp, can you try the next part?
Next, we need to know how fast it was racing. I went over footage of the scene and timed the X-Wing's rate of ascent as it was emerging from the water. What are you doing? Important scientific research. Do not.
Yeah. Um, I went over footage. Can you repeat footage?
Footage.
Okay. I need to know how fast it was rising. I went over footage of the scene and timed it. The X-Wings rate of the senators. Yeah, good. That sounded great. And yeah, so that's kind of just a goofy little comic. Nacho, can you read the next part?
Okay. The front landing strut rises out of the water in about 3.5 seconds, and I estimate the strut to be 1.4 meters long, based on a scene in New Hope where camp crew member squeezes past it, which tells us the X-wing was rising at 0.39 meters per second.
Okay, good. We'd be looking at rising.
Rising,
Uh-huh. And based.
based on scene.
Yeah, so based on a scene. Good. Um, and just really quick, Heidi, so what happened before? Was I'd asked you about explaining who Yoda was and explaining about the story um, of Star Wars to Amp. And so that was the turn that it was supposed to be reading. And so it wasn't trying to skip you. I was just trying to move things along so we didn't stick with two things. So because the explanation of Yoda and Star Wars took a
But
little bit of time.
it's
I
not
know.
my will.
Sorry?
It's not my will.
Okay, I'm sorry, but that was the explanation of it. That wasn't trying to skip you. It was just trying to keep it moving. But that's what happened, and so that was my mindset of what was going on. But really sorry about that. Um, okay, and front strat. Questions about this? Does anybody have any questions about what's happening here?
Yes, I don't know what a front landing strut is.
Yeah, does anybody know what a front landing strut is? Okay. And so this is tricky. Let's get a picture. Um, so we actually have these only in flight. Um, landing strat. So it's what we'd be talking about is like the thing, the leg. So if we look at this, um, this is the front landing strut, that like little piece there. Um,
Mm.
Also, yeah, right here. Those like struts. They're just like support beams, kind of. Hopefully that makes sense. Um, okay. And any other questions? All right. And Heidi, can you read this next part? Are you there?
Yeah, but maybe I can't read very well. Literally, we need to know the strength of gravity on the Dogo bar. Here, I figure I'm stuck because while sci-fi fans are obsessive, it's not like there's gonna be a catalog of minor ge- geophysical characteristics for every planet visited in Star Wars, right?
Nice. That was really good. Visited. Can you repeat visited?
Visited.
Uh-huh. And then just the part, so it's not like there's going to be a catalog of minor geophysical characteristics for every planet visited in Star Wars, right? So the right, just there's a pause after that. That was the only other thing. Um, can you repeat visited in Star Wars, right?
Visited in Star Wars, right?
Yeah, and just try to pause a little bit more um, between there. So, but again, really good job. Um, okay. And yeah, I guess, does anybody have any questions about anything on this page or on this paragraph? Okay. And Julieta, can you read the next part?
Nope. I've underestimated the fandom. Wikipedia has just such a catalog and informs us that the surface gravity of Dagobah is 0.9 grams. Combining this with the Xwings wing mass and lift rate gives us our peak power output.
Good. Um,
Mhm.
Perfect. And you did a good job with Wikipedia, um, which is kind of ridiculous. Underestimated. Can you repeat underestimated?
Underestimated
Nice. Fandom.
fandom.
Nice. Fandom.
Mhm.
And
Excuse
yeah,
me, what does fandom mean?
fandom. Uh, does anybody have any ideas of what fandom is?
The how great it is, maybe.
Uh, so it's like, think about a kingdom.
Mhm.
Uh,
Do you know what a kingdom is?
Mhm.
So it's like the land ruled by a king. King. Gosh. Um, so the fandom is like the land ruled by fans or the space ruled by fans. So it's like this kind of, I guess, a hypothetical place would be the fandom. Does that answer your question, Nacho?
yes, I think so. It
Okay.
comes from fans and kingdom. Okay, it's a
Yeah.
mix between words. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Um,
Mm.
and Dagobah is the planet that they're on in the
Mhm.
thing. Um, yeah, and so this is the equation, and this is the end result. So 19.2 kilowatt hours, or kilowatts. And let's have amp. Can you read the next part?
Okay. Hmm. This- Okay. That's enough to power a block of suburban home. It's also equal to about 25 horsepower, which is about the power of the motor in the electric model smart car.
Yeah, electric model. Can you repeat electric model?
Model?
Yeah, smart car.
Smart car.
Good. And does anybody know what this would sound like? Can anybody do this voice? The Yoda voice?
No.
No? Can nobody do it?
Mm. Mm.
Hold on, I want to try to, because this would be really funny. Yeah, well, maybe not. I guess if Amp hasn't seen it. I don't know. Oh, you guys wouldn't even be able to hear it, so never mind. Okay, but yeah, it'd be,
It's it's a pitch.
yeah, yeah. So it's very like rising, but it would be funny. But this is Yoda in the engine block of a smart car. Okay, and let's have Nacho. Can you read the next parts?
Okay. Yes. At current electricity prices, Yoda would be worth about $2 per hour.
Yeah,
But
it's $2 an hour.
an hour.
Yeah.
$2 an hour. Okay. But telekinesis is just one type of force power. What about that lightning the Emperor used to zap Luke? The physical nature of it is never made clear, but Tesla coils that produce similar displays drop something like 10 kilowatts, which would put the Emperor roughly on par with Yoda. Yeah. Those Tesla coils used to lot very short pulse. If the Emperor is sustaining a continuous arc, as in an arc welder, the power could easily be in the megawatts.
Megawatts.
Megawatts. Watts.
Um,
It's hard.
yeah. If those Tesla coils use lots of very short pulses, or those Tesla coils use lots of very short pulses. Can you repeat that?
Sorry. If
So those
yeah,
Tesla coils use lots of very short pulses.
yeah. Those testicles use lots very short pulses.
Lots of very short pulses.
Lots of very
Yeah.
short pulses. Lots of.
And emperor.
Emperor. Emperor.
Good. Nice job. And Heidi, can you read the next one?
What about Luke? I examined the scene where he used his nascent force power to yank his lightsaber out of the snow. The numbers are harder to estimate here, but I went through frame by frame and came up with an estimate of 400 watts for his peak output. This is a fraction of Yoda's 19 kilowatts and was sustained for only a fraction of a second.
Nice. Estimate?
Estimate.
Good. And really, yeah, nice job with nascent. These numbers are... Okay, I think that sounded good. Does anybody have any questions here? Okay. Juliet, what about the next one?
So Yoda sounds like our best bet as an energy source, but with world electricity consumption pushing 2 terawatts, it would take 100 million Yodas to meet our demands. All things considered, switching to Yoda power probably isn't worth the trouble, though it would definitely be green.
Definitely.
Definitely.
Uh-huh. All things considered, switching to Yoda power.
All things considered, switching to Yoda power.
Okay. All things considered. So we really want to emphasize considered. All things considered, switching to Yoda power.
All things considered, switching to Yoda power probably isn't worth the trouble.
Perfect. That was great. That would definitely be green. Okay. And does anybody have any questions here? Okay.
Yes, what was the arc something?
What was
Arc
the
in the previous paragraph? Uh, up,
arc?
arc welder.
Okay. It's actually probably easier. Arc.
Mhm. Ah,
So it looks like that, just kind of electric
mhm,
force. So it'll look like that. Arc welders. Does that make sense?
mhm.
Okay. Um, and good. Any other questions here? Okay, we can go actually to another one. We've got quite a bit of time. Um, so there are a lot of them. Um, if anybody sees one that they're interested in, just shout it out. I'm gonna go down until somebody shouts something.
Mm.
What about green cows?
Yes.
Green cows?
Yeah.
Okay. That's an awesome question. Nadra, can you read the question?
Okay. If cows could photosynthesize, how much less food would they need?
Good. Um, and I guess the question, Heidi, what do you think? Do you know what photosynthesize means? Does anybody? Okay,
To
what's photosynthesis?
photosynthesize is the act to take light and become light in power.
Yeah, so it's what plants use to eat. So they use photosynthesis,
Okay,
so
I
they
got
can,
it.
yeah.
I got it. Always the leaves. Uh-huh.
Uh-huh.
Leaves make oxygen with the inside, mixing the right power.
Yeah, so the chemical reaction,
Yes,
it
yes.
produces oxygen. Yeah.
From CO2, the leaves change from CO2 to the O2.
Huh. Yeah, and photosynthesis is how plants get energy.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I guess how much less food do you think a cow would need if it could photosynthesize? Would it need to eat it all?
Less food they need. Cows, they can't photosynthesize. But
No.
if cows could do, it means maybe they need to they don't need to eat corn or any food only. Maybe wheat.
Okay.
So maybe 2 or 3 people will survive, and poor countries, refugees. Cows can feed 2 or 3 refugees.
They could feed.
They could feed, yeah.
Okay, so the cows would feed those people.
Yeah,
Yeah. Um, yeah, but they would need less food themselves, so the cows would eat less, right?
cows don't need to eat any food, right?
Yeah. The
Because
cows wouldn't.
they can create their energy inside.
Yeah. Yeah. Um, just a quick correction, they wouldn't need to eat any food.
Mhm.
And maybe they would be able to create their own.
Their own energy.
Could you read those last two sentences in the chat box, starting with they wouldn't need?
They wouldn't need to eat any food. They would be able to create their own energy.
Nice, good. Perfect. And yeah, that's what I'd think. I actually haven't read this one, so let's try Juliet. Can you read this first one?
In a way, they already do. A field of grass sits there all day, soaking up energy from the sun and storing it chemically. A grazing animal can then come along and absorb weeks of accumulated energy in a matter of minutes.
Nice. Okay. Yeah, I think that was good. Let's have Amp. Can you read the next paragraph?
A Jersey cow presents in the neighborhood of nearly 2 square meters of usable space to the sun if it stands right. Cows would have to be trained to stand optimally, but we might not have too far to go. Research suggests they already align themselves north-south.
Yeah. Research suggests they already align themselves north-south. And optimally.
Optimally.
Nice. Really good pronunciation there. Okay. And does anybody have any questions here? Okay. Nacho, what about the next part?
The next, chlorophyll photosynthesis extracts 3% to 6% of the total energy from sunlight. If we figure on any given day, the cow gets the equivalent of about 6 hours of peak sunlight. It works out to less than 2 million joules of usable energy each day.
Okay. Usable.
Usable.
Yeah, usable energy. Photosynthesis.
Photosynthesis.
Nice. Good. Yeah, nice job. And let's have Heidi. Can you read the next one?
Is that a lot? Well, a 458 kilogram cow just wandering around in a field might eat about 10 kilograms of dry matter a day. Extracting or on the order of 50 million joules of metabolic energy. So photosynthesis could only make up about 4% of the required intake, saving only a few handfuls of grain.
Good. We'd pronounce metabolic.
Metabolic.
Nice. Metabolic. Good pronunciation of joules. Photosynthesis. Yeah, okay. And so, yeah, not very much. All right. Any questions so far? Okay. Julieta, can you read the next part?
If we could equip cows with solar panels, which can be several times more energy efficient than photosynthesis, we could improve that number, but not by much.
Good. Really good pronunciation. Several times more energy efficient than photosynthesis. Maybe can you repeat several times more energy efficient than photosynthesis?
Several times more energy efficient than photosynthesis.
Good. Okay. And so that's a cow with a solar panel. Amp, can you read the next part?
The basic problem facing cows is the same one facing solar cars. They are too small. If you saw the world's cattle population in silhouette, they had They have an overall cross-sectional area of about 2,000 square kilometers. This means that if they were migrating through the air over Rhode Island, biology is not my strong suit. They'd blot out the sun over barely half the state. They'd only catch enough sunlight to produce a daily average of about 40 gigawatts of power, 2 megayodas.
Which is actually a reference to the Yoda thing, I
Mhm.
think. So yeah, migrating. Can you repeat
Migrate,
migrating?
migrating.
Huh? Through the air, which would be hilarious. Does anybody have any questions here? Yeah.
So all the population have just 2,000 square kilometers?
Yeah, so a cross-sectional area. Yeah.
Oh, it's really small.
Yeah, that is really small. Um, hmm. Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay. Um, okay. Yeah. And does anybody have any other questions here?
Blot out.
Blot out. Okay. Does anybody know what blot out means? Can anybody explain that? So, if you are writing on paper and you make a mistake, you blot out your mistake with
Mhm.
whiteout. So, using that example, what does it mean to blot out the sun?
Mm.
To block the light from the sun.
Yeah, exactly. So, blot out is just to block or to cover. So if you blot out the sun, you cover the sun so it looks like a cloud. You blot out a mistake on a paper that you're writing. You cover the mistake. Yeah, pretty much. Any other questions? Okay. And so that was AMP. Uh, and then Nacho, can you read the next part?
The next part. By contrast, about 3% of the world's surface area is cultivated, which means that given rough estimates of geographic distribution of farmland, our crops easily intercept over 1,000 times more sunlight than our cattle, which is why grazing is a good strategy.
Nice. Given rough estimates,
Rough estimates.
yeah, of geographic distribution.
Geographic distribution.
hmm Nice. So our crops easily intercept 1,000 times more sunlight than our cattle. Um, yeah, for sure. Any questions here?
Mm.
Okay.
What does
And
grazing mean?
graze. Okay, what is grazing? Does anybody know?
Sorry.
Grazing. What's grazing?
I think to grow crops, maybe.
To do what?
Grow crops.
Not quite. Um,
Mm.
so cows graze
Uh-huh.
and
Uh-huh.
horses graze. And
And sheep.
uh-huh,
Sheep. Yes.
sheep
Okay.
graze too. So what's grazing? Can you explain?
When you take animals into the field to eat.
Yeah,
No.
yeah. So when you take,
Okay.
it's what animals do to eat a lot of animals, so like horses and cows and sheep, like you said, they over the course of the day, pretty much all day, they eat continuous amounts of grass. So it's just like, yeah, they walk around and eat grass. That's what grazing is.
Mhm.
Yeah. All right. And I guess Heidi, can you read this next part?
I'd like to conclude with this quote, which I found in the Cedar Agricultural Development Institute applied ruminant nutrition for dairy cows. Cows on a typical daily ration can produce 80 to 100 liters of saliva per day. This has nothing to do with photosynthesis, but I wanted to share anyway.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Which is gross. Um, yeah, Heidi, what's happening there?
Mhm.
Do you get this? Does everybody understand what he's talking about?
Yeah, the cows produce 80 to 100 liters of saliva
Yeah,
every day.
every day. Yeah. You did a really good job. So the Sedera Agricultural Development Institute's Applied Ruminant Nutrition for Dairy Cows, which is the longest title ever. Um, but yeah, you did a really good job. Maybe ruminant is the only small thing that I would have noticed. But yeah,
I'm not sure this amount, but maybe cows produce a lot of saliva every day because they are sitting down under the tree, and then they are moving their mouth, chewing something again and again.
yeah,
Then they have a lot of saliva.
yeah, for sure.
They must drink a lot of water.
Yeah, I would imagine. Um, yeah, it'd be interesting to hear how much water they drink a day. But
Or
yeah,
they have maybe cows have two or three stomachs.
I'm not sure. I think they might have
I
three.
learned about that when I was school student. They have two or three stomachs. Then at first they swallow the wheat or food, and then they put it on the first stomach. Then they have plenty of time. They get return food from the first stomach. Then
Uh-huh.
they will chewing, and they put it in the second stomach or something. I learned about that.
Yeah. So apparently cows technically only have one stomach, but it has four distinct compartments.
Hmm.
Um, okay. Really interesting. So I didn't know that. Well, I kind of knew that, but yeah, whatever. Good. And so let's go and practice this a little bit. Hold on, guys. So, uh, well, if you could ask a question like this, Julieta, what would you ask?
Mhm. Hmm. I don't know. I didn't know that cows are just 2,000 kilometers square. So I would like to know how many square we are.
Yeah, actually, how many square kilometers? Nice. Alright. That's a really good question. Okay. There's
Mhm.
actually, you could, hold on. So I'm gonna get you, I think, the close answer to that question uh, while we ask AMP. What do you think about that?
I cannot see the screen right now.
So I guess the question, what would you ask?
In that way.
Yeah, so what would you ask if you had to ask a question like the questions in this comic?
Okay. Um, I would like to know if they have another solution instead of uh, cows.
Another solution instead of cows?
Yes, instead of the cows uh, contamination gas emitting for cows.
Mhm.
Okay, so like the methane that cows emit?
Yes, there are many studies that nowadays say that the cow to that you have to reduce the consumption of meat from the cows because they are causing the uh, part of the problem with the greenhouse phenomenon.
Yeah.
But I want to know if they have another solution. Uh,
Okay. Yeah, good. Heidi, what do you think? What would you ask?
One question.
Yeah, what question would you ask?
Mm. Cows emit green gas emission every
Mm-hmm.
day. We call it BEP.
Oh,
Cow,
because it's fart actually.
yeah.
Um,
Cow BEP is very bad for our um, mm, yeah. Uh,
Mhm.
it's a kind of green gas emission.
yeah. So cows are definitely bad for greenhouse gases. For
Yeah.
sure.
So so if create their own energy by themselves inside of them, maybe even for the environment, it's very good.
Yeah. Yeah.
Then, yeah.
Yeah, it probably would be really good for the environment. Um, for sure. The industry wants to sell us. What do you I wish I could ask you more about that amp.
So
Maybe if you
how, my question though, how can we gather the cow's vape as a natural gas? We can use that gas.
Yeah, cows probably wouldn't be happy, but yeah, maybe a good question would be like, how much energy would that actually provide us with?
Yeah,
So like if
from
we did
the
collect all the methane from gas. Nice question. Um, okay, yeah, and Julieta, this kind of goes to your question. So in millions of tons, each block is 1,000,000 tons. This is cattle. This is humans, pigs, goats, and all the green ones are wild animals, which is all really kind of crazy. Um, but that's
Mhm.
yeah. Yeah, for sure. That's a really good point as well, Amp. Anyways, I do have to go. I've got another class starting up right now. Thanks for coming in. It was fun, and hopefully see you guys soon.
Thank
the
you.
teacher take care.